friends, we're back for another session of The One and Only Ivan. I'm absolutely loving this book. We're almost a quarter of the way through and we're making great progress through our book club. We've only been reading for about 8 days now. This is our 9th day of reading and I'm excited to see what happens between our new character Ruby and our trusty friend Ivan, and see if they form a very special bond with one another. But I'm also very excited to see how Ruby and Stella interact because they are of the same species. Now, when we last left off, I left you with a question talking about the lesson that this book may be trying to teach us, and I asked my students and a lot of them came up with to be kind, and one student brought up being kind to animals. And I really agree with that. I think one of the main themes or the main lessons here is to teach us that animals do have feelings. They do feel pain, they do feel sadness, and it's important that there are people out in the world who are advocating for animals' rights and their treatment, and hopefully this book inspires you to speak out and stand up for animals. But we're going to see if that message or that theme changes as we continue to read, because sometimes that happens and sometimes there may be multiple lessons that we learn throughout this book. We just left off with Stella and Ruby and Ivan talking about that there's an instant love. They cling to one another. They flap their ears. They rumble and roar, and they like cuddle. And Stella strokes Ruby, kisses her, pats her, almost like she's her mama. So we're going to continue reading. We're on page 83, and let's get started. Home of the one and only Ivan. George and Mac are out by the highway. I can see them through one of my windows. They are next to each other on tall wooden ladders, leaning against the billboard that tells the cars to stop and visit the one and only Ivan, mighty Silverback. George has a bucket and a long-handled broom. Mac has pieces of paper. He slaps one against the billboard. George dips the broom into the bucket. He wets the paper with the liquid from the bucket, and somehow the paper stays in place. They put up many pieces before they are done. When they climb down from the ladders, I see that they have added a picture of a little elephant to the billboard. The elephant has a lopsided smile. She's wearing a red hat, and her tail curls like a pig's. She doesn't look like Ruby. She doesn't even look like an elephant. I've only known Ruby one day, and I could have drawn her better. There's a little bit of Ivan's sass. 85, art lesson. Ruby asks a lot of questions. She says, Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? And can you get me one of those pink clouds that the humans are eating? What do you think she's talking about there? Pink clouds that the humans are eating if they go to a circus. Think to yourself. When Ruby asks, what is that on your wall? I explain that it's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent, and the waterfall has no water, and the trees have no roots. I am aware of that, I say. It's art, a picture made with paint. Do you know how to make art? Ruby asks. Yes, I do, I say, and I puff up my chest just a little. I've always been an artist. I love drawing. Why do you love it? Ruby asks. I pause. I never talked to anyone about this before. When I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Not always. I'm going to stop there. Ivan says, when he's answering her question about why do you love art, he said, when I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to think. Sometimes when I'm feeling sad or upset, I don't feel quiet inside. I feel like I'm yelling inside, or I feel panicked, or I feel nervous, and I just feel like all my feelings are just, shouting for me to calm down. So maybe this means that when Ivan's drawing, he feels peaceful, or he feels calm and quiet, and it's a good thing. Ruby scratches the back of her neck with her trunk. What do you draw, anyway? Bananas, mostly. Things in my domain. My drawings sell at the gift store for $25 a piece, with a frame. What's a frame? Ruby asks. What's $1? What's a gift store? If you have younger siblings or cousins or neighbors, this sounds a lot like a younger kid or a younger child. They just ask a lot of questions. I close my eyes. I'm a little sleepy, Ruby. Have you ever driven a truck? Asks Ruby. I don't answer. Ivan, Ruby asks, can Bob fly? A memory flashes past, surprising me. I think of my father, snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick I know to wake him. Perhaps I realize he wasn't really such a sound sleeper after all. So I think he means he was probably ignoring Ivan, and that's kind of what Ivan's doing to Ruby because he's tired of answering those questions. But this is the first time we get a memory flashback from Ivan. I mean, we've heard a little bit about his past, but here he is talking about his father. So we know there was a point in time where he did live with his family. Let's keep reading. Page 88, treat. What's that foot, old girl? George asked Stella. How's that foot, old girl? George asked Stella. Stella pokes her trunk between the bars. She inspects George's right shirt pocket for a treat he brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella's his favorite, but I don't mind. She's my favorite too. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrated nudge with her trunk, and Julia giggles. Stella moves to George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. Nimbly, she removes it. Mac walks past. Toilet's plugged up in the men's bathroom, he says. Big mess. I'll take care of it, George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, Mac, George says, you might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. Darn thing never does heal up right, Mac rubs his eyes. I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling the vet every time she sneezes. George strokes Stella's trunk. She inspects his pocket one more, just in case. Sorry, girl, George says as he watches Mac walk away. Elephant jokes. Ivan, Bob, I blink. The dawn sky is a smudge of gray, flecked with pink, like a picture drawn with two crayons. I can just make out Ruby in the shadows waving hello with her trunk. Are you awake? Ruby asks. We are now, says Bob. Aunt Stella's still asleep, and I don't want to wake her because she said her foot was hurting, but I'm really, Ruby pauses for a breath, really bored. Bob opens one eye. You know what I do when I'm bored? What? Ruby asks eagerly. Bob closes his eyes. I sleep. It's a little early, Ruby, I say. I'm used to getting up early. Ruby wraps her trunk around one of the bars on her door. At my old circus, we always got up when it was still dark, and then we had breakfast, and we walked in a circle, and then they changed my feet up, and that really hurt. Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. Ivan, Ruby asks, do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about elephants. Well, let me see. I heard Mac tell one once. I yawn. How can you tell that an elephant has been in the refrigerator? How? By the footprints in the butter. Ruby doesn't react. I sit up on my elbows, trying not to disturb Bob. Get it? What's a refrigerator? Ruby asks. It's a human thing, a cold box with a door. They put food inside. They put food in the door or food in the box? And is it a big box, Ruby asks, or a little box? I like Ruby. She reminds me a lot of kids in my class that I adore. Curiosity isn't a bad thing, asking all these questions. It's how people learn. I can see this is going to take a while, so I sit up all the way. Bob slides off, grumbling. I reach for my pencil, the one I snapped in half with my teeth. Here, I say, I'll draw you a picture of one. In the dim light, it takes me a minute to find a piece of paper Julia gave me. The page is a little damp and has a smear of something orange on it. I think it's from a tangerine. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil is not cooperating, but I do what I can. By the time I'm done, the first streaks of morning sun have appeared in flashy cartoon colors. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies it intently. She studies it intently. Her head turned so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. Wow, you made that? Is this the thing you were telling me about before? Art? Sure is. I can draw all kinds of things. I'm especially good at fruit. Could you draw a banana right now, Ruby asks. Absolutely. I turn the paper over and sketch. Wow, Ruby says again in an odd voice when I hold up the page. It looks good enough to eat. She makes a happy littling sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird I recall from long ago, a tiny yellow bird with a voice like dancing water. Strange, I'd forget all about that bird. how she'd wake me up every morning at dawn when I was still curled safely in my mother's nest, another memory. It's a good feeling, making Ruby laugh, so I draw another picture and another. Along the edges of the paper, an orange, a candy bar, a carrot. What are you two up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I ask. Just feeling my age, Stella says. I'm fine. Ivan is making me pictures, Ruby says, and he told me a joke. I really like Ivan, Aunt Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too. Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asks. I heard it from Maggie. She was one of the giraffes in my old circus. Sure, I say. It goes like this. Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think, but I don't answer because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby, I reply. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. Good one, Ruby, I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. So we are going to look at this picture of Ivan and Ruby and just look at the size difference. She is such a tiny little one, and he's this big gorilla showing her how to draw and make art. And we can tell that there's some type of friendship forming here. But I want to go back to that joke. Ivan encourages her to tell the joke, and Stella pets her softly. There's some type of bond forming between all of them, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. But because Stella is becoming the face of the billboard, I'm a little bit nervous that Mac is going to use her for his own financial gain. So we'll have to see what happens. If you're in my class, remember to fill out the Google form below. If you're not in my class, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to know when new videos are uploaded. And you can follow me on my Instagram at Miss Pugz with a Z to see what's going on in my online classroom and my in real life classroom. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.